one of the things that I can show you is the layout. It was 103 acres that St. Thomas had. 63 acres were above Highway 39 is marshland. And it was, the church retained about 9 acres, 8 or 9 acres on the Batcher, plus over 5 acres around the cemetery and access to the cemetery. And we had a environmental scientist to go check the property for wetlands. Corps of Engineers has to prove it. And we were purchasing 26 acres, we were buying 26 acres. But of that 26 acres, all this is wetland. Yes, thank you, John. Yeah. This is 26 acres. All of this is classified as wetland. And it's all wooded area. Everybody knows the property, but you can't build on it. There's 8 acres here that you can build on. And that's the 8 acres.
Where's the highway on your map there?
Pardon?
Where's the highway?
The highway is right.
That's the front.
This is 39, 15 right
It's
here.
39 the bag in, the 15 in the front.
15's right here.
So you're in front, you're still in front of the back levee canal.
Sir?
You're right out here.
That wetlands is still in front of the back levee
Yeah,
canal.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I think it's just a matter of question on that to get that
Why are they
classified.
classifying that as wetlands, John?
I think
Just
it's-
vegetation on it?
It's trees. It's trees. It's the Corps of Engineers. It's how they do things. If it's got a certain type plan on it, they can say, they can determine that's wetlands.
You can solve that problem. You take a dozer in there, clean it off, and then vegetation is not there anymore.
Yeah. I'm 74 years old now. I don't want to get in more trouble. I've been in enough.
So y'all buying that whole piece that's in,
Buying that, but we're not going to use any
that's
of
not the
that.
point you're buying, just telling people what you're buying.
We're buying 26 acres here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You see that?
And once we get through, if the church wants this property, we'll be glad to donate it to them. It's just one of the buildings, 11 buildings there. And the buildings are bet, we meet not only Plaquemines Parish's code, we meet FEMA's guideline and LHC, the Louisiana Housing Corporation. They have real stringent specs. Like we got to be able to build to withstand 160-mile-an-hour winds. There'll be 17 feet. That's the reason it costs so much to build. The exterior will be maintenance, almost maintenance proof. It's a cement board, party plank. The roof is a really good roof. It lasts, 35-year roof. It won't last that long, but that's what they call it. The windows are double insulated, high impact windows. It'll probably be the safest structures other than a few houses on the East Bank. They'll be sprinkled. They'll have lifts to get disabled up. Every one of the units is seven of them meet what's called ADA, American Disabilities Act. The rest of them are also with the extra cost to put in. All the doors are 3 feet. So if there's a parent or child or anyone in there that's disabled, they can go anywhere in the unit in a wheelchair. It'll be really good construction. We've been doing this for years. Everything we've done, I'm proud of, which is everything from a Ritz-Carlton to a lot of affordable housing. So I think it's something that's extremely needed. I think the community will really benefit from it. And it will help. Like I was talking to one of the deputies today, he said, just tell everybody I'm Roy from the East Bank. And he said they'll know who I am. But anyway, he was talking about the people like working at the courthouse or working at the prison. By the time they drive here, it's so expensive for them to get back and forth, they're not making any money. But, and it's always been a question about people coming from New Orleans I've talked to Reverend Singleton. In 19 years, he knows of one person that's moved down this area from New Orleans. And we designed this and we're building it for the people in the Plaquemines Parish, mainly over here on the East Bank. Is what our market is.
You said 11 units, 11 buildings. How many units?
44.
44 altogether?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
When you said 17 feet up, that's 17 feet above sea level, or?
Yes, 17 feet above
So
sea.
the land is at sea level?
The land's about 3 feet above sea level.
You're going 17 feet up, or 14?
14 more feet.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my problem is, unfortunately, I haven't been around, so I haven't heard what the plan is now. Last time I heard of this, when I came here, it was concerning single-family homes or something connected to family-owned
I'm glad
property.
you asked that. From the first time I ever came down here, and I sat in the store, and John, Mr. Councilman Bartholomew, I asked him, what's the reverend, what would you like for us to build on here? And he said, single-family home. And I said, we can't do that. We have a grant. We couldn't build here if we didn't have a grant. And it's only for multifamily. That's the only way we can get the money. Just a minute, sir. But it was a group that came down and said that they could build single-family homes. We had nothing to do with that. And they're not around anymore because they realize they cannot build single-family homes. Someone they can do it, we can't. I don't know how you do it. I just don't know how you do it. So, I could tell one gentleman, there's a lot of land out here. If you want to do it, go ahead. But I don't know how you do it. And I've been building for 40 years.
Okay, so what exactly is this housing going to do? Is this, what is it? What is it that you're building?
It's a building with 4 units in it with a lift to it and stairs. And it'll be landscaped and maintained. It'll have security cameras on property and it'll be sprinkled.
How are these multifamily are able to afford this housing?
Well,
What exactly is
that's
this
the wonderful thing about it. If they're disabled, they get vouchers to pay 80% of the rent. If you low income, if you meet a certain class, anybody making $50,000 can live here. But if you don't make that kind of money, then there'll be vouchers available to offset your cost of your rent.
Okay, now, my understanding about vouchers is that it ends up being a percentage of the housing units. Okay, if you've got everybody down here, for the most part, the people who will need the housing don't make that kind of money. So therefore, they're on the further end of that deal. So my concern is that, is it all going to be for the poor, the disadvantaged, the whole 9 yards? Because that's what's needed.
That's what's needed. And I tell you what, if I lived here, as soon as a list was made available, if it was here or St. Thomas Church or wherever it is, I'd get on there. We want the people that live here in their community to live there.
Rick, here's the rent level. Why don't you read those off to them?
Pardon?
What'd you say, Jim?
It's a contract, you manage it,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
Are you trying to say he talks better than
No, because people have questions about it,
Okay.
he can answer better. He's a contractor.
Right.
He's the governor.
Yeah,
He's a man that builds this.
you see, I'm a working man.
Yeah. Excuse me. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Bill Heineman, and Councilman Bartholomew correctly identified me as the developer. I've been in this business also over 40 years. The monthly rents vary from a low of $596 a month to a high of $847 a month, depending on the person's percentage of the monthly income is the term I'm looking for. Pardon? AMI, I couldn't think of the word. The vouchers, for instance, that Robert Singleton is referring to, let's just say for argument's sake that someone was 80% voucher. I think you have 70% vouchers also. Then I can't try and do the math in my head right now, but that person would pay $170 a month, and the voucher would pay the balance.
Just can I ask one quick question, just so we're clear here? So what you're saying is even if the rents are, say, from 5 something to, say, 8 something, if somebody has an 80% voucher, 80% of that 500 is going to be covered by the voucher.
That is
They're only paying the last 20%.
That's correct.
There was a question back here about whether people could afford
The
it.
point that Hodges was trying to make was that the income ceiling is, they just changed it. It's like $53,000. So someone who make $53,000 and live here, of course, at that rent level, they're not going to be eligible for vouchers.
Yes.
But the rental levels, of course, I live in Orleans Parish, so the rent levels, look pretty low to me. I'm sure someone sitting here may not think so, but we have a market study that was done by a firm that the Louisiana Housing Corporation uses, and HUD and all the rest of them. And they looked at all the demographics, and they said that there was far more people here that could afford to pay these rental levels. In other words, you could build numerous of these, then you can still fill them up. They said the demand was, I can't remember the word, it's something like excessive, but that wasn't the right word. Did I answer your question well enough?
Not quite.
I'm going to try real hard.
My concern is that I'm wanting to know where you're getting your numbers from, because, just the idea, okay. My concern is that we still have a lot of people who need housing, who have no income, zero, okay? We have a lot of people who have a minimum of a little bit of money.
Yes, ma'am.
And even that is below what you're saying, the 120 or 170 or whatever. It's way below that even. And then you're talking about utilities. Did you guys put that in, figure
No,
that
you
in?
have to pay through the utilities.
No.
They would have to pay for
This
the
is-
utilities.
If I can
Okay.
answer that one, I'm sorry.
All right, they would have to pay the utilities, okay, and then they've got to pay for food. I'm sorry, I'm just not seeing what you're seeing.
Let me help you with this. This is not a government project. Someone called this Section 8 of the housing at some prior meeting. It is not Section 8 housing. This is a private apartment development. And in that private apartment development,
Okay, so
if someone has no income, they're not going to be able to live there.
okay. All right, now,
If I can say
I
this,
do have one other.
I can answer her quickly.
Let us go down here.
If you could, ma'am,
Yes, okay, I
the
have,
vouchers include for disabled people who were hurt the most in the disasters that Plaquemines Parish has suffered. The vouchers include a utility allowance for disabled people who have very low income. And the utility allowance would kick in and help them not only with going to 80% of the AMI for the rent, but it would also send them a check every month to help them with their utilities. Because disabled people, if you don't, and that's what's happening in Plaquemines Parish right now, because they're not getting serviced like they should, they end up in nursing homes, and it costs the federal government $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 a month.
exactly.
And if you could put together a plan and house them and give them utility allowances and lower the AMI to 80%, you could help them live independently with their families and save the government money. And it's not a government development, but the vouchers or HUD-based vouchers?
Reverend, and on that note, ma'am, I'm going to show you the top. In the design of it, this is the floor plan. And it illustrates this wheelchair going in.
Okay.
So if a disabled person living there, and they rent the apartment, and they have members of their family live with them,
Right.
then they practically may be living there for nothing. We can't say that for sure. But we do know Reverend Singleton is the one in charge of issuing the vouchers for Plaquemines Parish, and he knows that if you're disabled and you need it, you can't pay it.
Okay. All right, now I have another big question that may have been asked a long time ago, and that is, I'm Catholic. I've been in this community forever and about, whatever, just my mother. So she's here. Okay, so my point is that this family here is the ones who gave the property to Blessed Martin for a school and church, okay? And that was because of, and obviously you guys all know that, because we had a black church and a white church. Okay, so with racism being what it was, you know, we have that property. Now all of a sudden, it's become up for discussion, and we haven't even been notified about it. Oh, maybe I'm just missing that point. But have you guys been notified at all? At all about this? About the property period? It was well underway when you heard about it. Okay. My point is that, and that probably I need to go back to the Archdiocese and figure out what's going on there, because I don't understand how they can even discuss anything, housing or otherwise, without having them involved in that discussion. Not to mention the fact that we still have a lot of people here in this community who's from St. Martin. Yeah, my mother, me, okay? A lot of us in here sitting around, we have been products of Blessed Martin, okay? So please, you know, so yes, that question may need to go back to the Archdiocese. But my concern is that how all of a sudden, because I just heard just a few minutes ago, and I'm very concerned about this, because I was told that they can't build a hall, which is something that we wanted in this community, a hall for entertainment or whatever. Okay, we couldn't build a hall, but now they can build housing. And yes, I would imagine everybody, including me, would have said yes to housing for the people in the community as opposed to the hall. Well, that's fine. Okay, but now all of a sudden it's going to be rental property. So that means other people are coming into the parish to benefit from what we have done. We have given blood, sweat, and tears over the years because of this property.
Can I answer that question? I don't mean to interrupt you, but you just got to hit a bit here. We will have a sign-in sheet, a list for the people. We've offered to put it in Councilman Bartholomew's office. We've offered to put it at the church, wherever will have us. And it will be sitting there, and you can walk in and sign up as number one if you'd like to. I think it's complete smokescreen to talk about people coming, say, from Orleans Parish here.
Well,
We put a sign-in list.
That's not important.
Wait, Vince.
We put the sign-in list here. I can't even, with my wildest dreams, imagine somebody in New Orleans. It's a long way here. Driving down here, you know,
Let me get this straight. Tell them what you mean by a list. What's the list?
Okay.
What's the list in corporate? What do you mean, what it is? A list for what?
I'm glad you asked that question.
No,
I'm delighted you asked it, because a lot of times you assume people know what you're talking about. When you do a development like this, you start off by saying, how do I fill it up? You know, it doesn't do any good to have a bunch of empty, whether we built office buildings or hotels or apartments, have them empty, here's money, signing up. And so we have a sign, just like you signed in to come to this meeting. we would have a sign-in sheet. And as I said, we could put it here, the church, we'll go wherever we're welcome. And that sheet will be there. And you come in, you say, I'd like to live in this place. You sign up. You're number one on the list. Now, we have a management company that will come in and, verify employment, verify criminal background, and they do all this checking of people. But assuming that, and they'll work with Reverend Singleton on the vouchers, I mean, their job is to make sure that people, you got the, decent people in there, and then that they can pay their rent. But also, if you're here first, you'll be first. Is that a good enough?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's good, Bill.
My concern is that it's not a governmental entity, it's a church entity.
Yes.
So any action has to be transposed or committed to, we had to go through the church.
Right,
Because
so,
it's not a governmental entity at all.
okay.
Other than this, voting on permits,
Right.
zoning change and things like that. But the actual business conceptual building plans is done through the church. The
Okay,
church
so-
has to approve what is being going on. So to me, that's where it all need to go and follow that direction instead of outside of the perimeter of the church.
Right, and I agree with that, I agree
And
with
that's
that.
why I told them I don't want.
But that's my concern, is that why hasn't the church contacted the community?
The church has been involved.
Father,
Father seen the plans. We've gone back and forth with their attorneys over what land the archdiocese retains and what land we buy.
Bill, excuse me just a second. On St. Mark's Hall, that foundation is still on church property,
What foundation?
where the hall was.
What the hall was, yes, okay.
Yes.
So you're saying that because what?
Oh, well, with that, and that hall is still there for,
Well, no, we don't.
I know you don't have one.
Could a hall be
But you have the
I'm
land.
just curious.
wait, one at a time.
Okay.
All right, y'all about to finish? Y'all need some more
Yeah,
time?
Thank you, John.
Brother Singh,
I got a question for this guy right here. You say it's beneficial to the community. How will those buildings, how will those buildings be beneficial to us? In
Well,
what way?
it will improve the housing conditions for a lot of people. Not enough, but it's not, we can't build enough to help everyone, but it would be a wonderful place to live. I think that's an improvement for the community. It's a good, safe place to live. And
Right, and it's just for the community down here or community anywhere?
it's for Plaquemines Parish, but I'm sure everybody lives there will be good neighbors here.
all right,
Whoever signs up,
excuse me.
whoever signs up.
It's federal funding, so you can't. Reverend Singh?
FEMA, if I might say this, FEMA,
Excuse me.
FEMA.
Reverend Singleton is, he's over the voucher program in this area, if I'm not mistaken, right, Reverend?
Yes.
Plaquemines Parish?
FEMA and after the hurricanes, conducted demographic searches in the area, talked to everybody, they got all the statistics, they know where the disabled people are from Plaquemines Parish. They're the ones who have decided that they want to come back around their family members. They have established a waiting list from Plaquemines Parish. And they have those people on the list as we speak. You got a lot of folks from the area in St. Bernard, you got New Orleans, you got Lafayette, you got Alexandria. The government is very, very keen on getting statistics, and they have the numbers, and those who want to come back home, they even know those. And I called today to get that information. And you people who are from Plaquemines Parish, you can't, I want you to know, you can't deny them the ability to come back to their home. Some people need to come back to be around family because they're disabled. You know, like one man contacted me from Alexandria. He's got sickle cell and he's getting older, and his daughter lives down here, and his daughter is practically homeless. But he did desire to come back home, and this is an opportunity. So not only will you have local people, but the government has statistics and stats and they know where the people are, and they will give those people a chance to come back to Plaquemines Parish. Plaquemines Parish residents.
Thank you, Ralph.
Okay,
Like,
I understand.
Darrell?
Now, this is federally funded, correct?
Sir?
It's federally funded. Funding comes from the federal government.
Nope.
There are three pieces of funding for this project. The first of them, and most important, are CBDG block grants that are from the federal government that are through the Louisiana Housing Corporation who awarded them to us. They are for multi-family affordable housing only. The second thing is the first mortgage on the property. The first mortgage on the property is based off of you collect rents, you pay expenses, you hopefully have a net income, and you pay a mortgage payment out of that. But it's a first mortgage, just like you get on a house or a business or anything. The third piece of financing is called LIHTC. It's the Louisiana, it's low-income tax credits. And you sell those in the open market. Quite frankly, they're sold on Wall Street. And the combination of the three is enough money to build this very expensive environment down here. And build to their standards, which are way above standards that you, I'm just going to build some houses, it wouldn't be that nice. The key to the whole thing is the CBDG block grant. Without that CBDG block grant that the LHC gave to us, there will be no project. It would be just, there would be nothing. This is our opportunity to do something good for this parish. And we really hope that you guys will go along with us.
All I know, I saw the applicant last week where 35,000 eligible families in New Orleans from the federal housing. And if they sign up, nothing keeps them from coming in here. This is not to be designed primarily for people from the community.
This is designed for the people of the community. Mr. Domingue, I understand, if I were you, I wouldn't want the herd of people from New Orleans coming down here. I would agree with you 1,000%. I assure you, we'll put the waiting list down here and local people will fill it up, I assume, in a week.
In 20 years that we've been managing the Section 8 housing program for Plaquemines Parish, one family who had roots in Pointe-ala-hache came to Happy Jack, and they're on Happy Jack Road that leads to the marina in the back. And then, because they stand out, and they were there, and Hurricane Katrina came, and they left, and they hadn't come back. But they had roots in Plaquemines Parish. I have not seen anybody, and if you see them in the parish, I have not seen anybody from New Orleans come to Plaquemines Parish in 20 years. So in 20 years, if they hadn't come, what's going to start bringing them now? The vouchers have been there.
By the way, we agree with you. We don't want people from Orleans Parish to come here.
It's like the people have been
Put our waiting list out.
Police differently.
All your friends and neighbors come
police in
sign
Orleans
up.
Parish, and you're not,
Any guarantee that they're not coming?
There is no guarantee in life.
this is America.
But you're a smart guy.
Excuse
Your
me.
odds are
One at a time,
99%.
Madison. Hold on. Well, go ahead. Gerald,
I
question?
want to ask a
Go
question.
ahead, ask the question.
Yes, question is, you all figured in the, or 40 families coming in, regardless where they're coming from. Have you all figured in the water usage, the sewer? Because we got trouble right now, I live just above here. And I was washing the lawnmower yesterday. Barely could get enough water pressure to wash my little lawnmower. And it's been going on. You can ask Joe, we all with the fire department now, volunteer.
All I can tell you
And we
is
go
our
right
architect
to-
assures
we all check
us
into
that
that.
everything's going to be fine.
You all check into that.
Well, like I say, that's not on them, that's on us, it's PPG.
All right, well, yeah.
So your council is
Well,
working
it's
right
on
now.
us, it's on us to approve it if we have the infrastructure in place.
Absolutely.
So
I'm
now, we
saying
don't
that's
have
not
the
new
infrastructure.
developers.
You don't say it like that, say it like it's supposed to be.
I'm
If we
just
don't
saying.
have the necessary infrastructure in place, then we should not permit.
I agree.
Because it becomes very viable, negligent, putting something that we can't protect.
Right.
And it's messing with us people. So that's what you have to look at when you talk about all that.
So we ain't
And I
got
never
too
talked
much
to, ST,
I'm not
or none of
disagreeing
them about
with
it. So don't just say
So we
that.
ain't got too much trouble with the sewer backup right now. And I don't know the amount of people exactly in my area, but I know we do have trouble with water pressure. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. But if you add in 44
I think-
families,
Yeah, our biggest problem is that it all depends, but Auburn and doing that, sometimes they crank up at night, and we not make the water, we on the tower, and they crank up, but that big old thing they got down there, of course it's gonna drop, pressure will drop.
well, it's not all that bad, but I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying, that would cause some of the problem.
Right,
It's
right.
not their fault, but that's just the way it is, because
Right.
our thing is not large enough to manage and maintain the water that is needed.
Right.
Now, the other concern, which we already working on that now with the fire department,
Right.
about all the elevated buildings we have in place now here, whether or not our fire protection, we don't have ladder trucks, so that's the next thing we need to look at, buying some to do that. We're on the list, because we don't have them, now we're getting a multitude of elevated homes, so we need to consider that ASP. It was already been talked about, trying to put it in the budget to find some money to accommodate that, because evidently, it's going to be an ongoing thing of elevation.
Right, because we don't want to get caught like with that ferry down there.
Yeah.
They had money was scheduled, planned for the redo the ramps and everything, so before.
The money was doing that the first time I ran, I left.
Yeah, right, that was a good. But it just
The money was there.
went to naught, we had
They
trouble,
took it.
nobody could get across the Pointe-ala-hache.
Right.
All
Well,
right.
I think John will
Any
tell
other
you,
comments?
we hustle when they get asked for it.
Yeah.
We find it, that's how we found the money. We got the project right now bid, the dolphin repair, as fast as humanly possible. The councilman came to the office, we got every delay waived. We moved at warp speed for the government, trust me when I tell you. So,
I'm sorry.
no, I'm just saying, you got a parish president who's from the lower end. It's not like we're dragging our feet these days, trust me when I tell you. I think John will
The
tell you.
contract been awarded.
We actually hustle anything we can to help you. All right, over here, trust me.
I have a question. I guess it would be for you. Like you're saying disabled people coming back to Plaquemines from Plaquemines. And you only have 44 units available. How many people that you know of already that's outside of this area is ready to come back home? Like, so I'm curious to know how many people in my local community that this is going to help. I mean, the people that's living here right now that need the help. There's a lot of people down here. I'm not saying that there's not. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying, I'm curious. Do you already have 44 names?
The only place in Plaquemines Parish that people from other parts of the parish end up going to out of necessity is in Belle Chase. Okay? Coming down here, we have on a waiting list right now, check this
Right,
morning.
that's what I asked.
There's a total of 105 disabled families on the waiting list. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to HUD and let them design a program. That's how you gotta do it. You go to HUD, and the HUD people gonna design a program like a blender, and they're gonna blend it in, and they're gonna give it out to us. You ask me, I gotta tell you the truth. I'm a preacher.
No, I appreciate that. That's why I'm asking, because I want to know if it's going to help some of our people that live down here,
Well,
and that
that's
need this.
typically how they do it, yes. But, you go to the people who design the programs, who put them with LAC, and LAC follow their guidelines, and that's how you gotta do it. They're not
I
gonna
was
put
curious,
all outsiders in a.
Well, I'm not
local
saying that, but
community.
I want to know that it's going to help the people that live here too, that
Yes.
need the help also, not
Yes.
just somebody who lived here 20 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yes, it will.
I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? But I want whatever our community wants. Because, it's whatever everybody wants.
First thing, why not tell the people in the community to sign that list? And he said
Now.
it goes by immediately. Yeah, so their names is on the list.
I've been saying that
Before
for
any
months.
from outside. Go ahead and
But
sign.
I'm just going
Start
to
with
tell
the
you,
list.
watch the list. Because you know you can get through off that list really quick.
Sounds like they're already in there.
No, he said there's not 105 signed up for these houses.
No.
He's
He
not
has
talking about that. That's
a
not.
voucher list that's totally separate from the
Right.
project list. The project list is right here, right now. It's a blank sheet of paper. See this blank sheet of paper? There's the project
What
list.
we need affordable, low-income homes, not housing. That's what the people need.
But they can't get single housing.
Wait.
It's $12 million. $12 million in this project, correct?
Pardon?
$12 million. $12 million.
Yeah, yes.
Correct?
Right.
44 units. That's 288,000 per unit. Why you can't do it?
Because, Mr. Jones, the grant itself is for multi-family housing only. Now, if anyone can tell me how to build a single-family house down here, I would appreciate it. If it's over $200 a foot, and it's only 1,500 feet in the house, and you're up, and you get 1,500 feet at over $200 a foot, you're over $300,000 for a 1,500 square foot house. And there's no program, there's no grants for that. There may be a grant of up to $35,000 on another program that somebody can get to build a single-family home, but you're still not going to be able to build it.
So houses like this couldn't be done,
I can't do it.
which was,
I know the other group that came down here and said they could, left and said they can't build single-family houses down here. But we never said we were going to build single-family houses. We said from the first day, we can't do it.
I'm just saying what we need,
Well,
what the people need. They don't need to be
That's what-
huddled together in one big group. It just don't work well. It never does work well.
Councilman Bartholomew would have loved to have, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know anybody that does.
This doesn't preclude you from doing that. Anybody can come in and buy, there's a heck of a lot of land down here. Anybody go buy a bunch of land, build houses, we're all for them. This doesn't preclude we're not hurting anybody. We're helping some people.
No, I think this changed the whole landscape of the community.
Well, that's a different
I mean,
discussion.
I was born and raised down here. Lived in Gretna for 11 years. Came back down here to raise my family because I thought it'd be a safe environment for my kids, a rural setting. I moved back down here to get away from what you're trying to put in.
Housing.
No, now don't get me wrong. Yeah, project. Now the people down here, we got good people down here, but I think they're the ones that's gonna suffer. You think?
And they're coming back with the figure to give us so we can make those corrections. Okay?
Mr. Bartholomew, I was blessed to speak at our district attorney's.
Anybody else comment?
I have one. With regard to the water, we got problems with water. Once we elevated our house, we lucky if we get a pencil of dripping of water when it comes in the house. And if somebody, God help, if somebody's flushing the toilet and you washing dishes, somebody's got to stop. Honest, I'm not kidding. It's that bad.
What we did, what was going on, we have an engineer do the design on the water line. But you have some water lines that we can't put above 50 pounds of pressure. And that's the issue. So what we have the company that's doing is to find exactly what the initial cost will be. We put up $350,000 to do the study, to tell us exactly what lines we could be removing, how much it's going to cost. Now, every time we try to elevate the pressure line, it breaks and breaks. Okay. It's totally disgusting break. So there's three things going on with the water line. That one, up in that area, and also in White Ditch to Phoenix. There's an area there that's dealing with asbestos water line. How to move that completely out. So those are two areas of concern. And we're trying to hurry up and get the price on it. They're still working on it. And what they're doing is taking samples every so far of the water. Now, what had happened, we gave them the wrong amount of footage of the pipeline, of the water. So when they went back, engineers went back, they found that it wasn't good. So now, that means we have a difference of funding. So, but it didn't happen well, it happened with ST. They gave them a quote of how many square foot, and they did a quote to do the study. So now they're still doing it, and they're coming back with the figure to give us so we can make those corrections. Okay?
Mr. Bartholomew, I was blessed to speak at District Attorney's Senior Citizen Day this year. And one of the things that I was able to realize while we were there, we have 150 families in the Belle Chase area. Right now, from the very beginning, because that was the only place that kids can go to want to stay at home. and there's been no uptick in the crime in Belle Chase for these 150 families. A lot of politicians got rental property, a lot of politicians rent to these disabled people that live in the Belle Chase area. I'm disabled myself from the National Football League. And if I committed a crime, I can't get away, my legs are so bad.
Well, the area is here, I understand about Belle Chase and Belle Chase.
Where in Belle Chase?
They talk about this.
I'm all over in Belle Chase.
No,
Well, they do
where's the
have-
apartment
they do have-
complex
Where the
in Belle
apartments
Chase?
at?
Yeah.
Rick went and filmed in Belle Chase. They got nearly 1,000 units of rental property all over Belle Chase.
If you go in right by Alvin Cowan's field, in the Memphis Mission, there's probably 300 or 400 apartments in there.
You got one by Domino's also. There's one apartment complex right by Domino's Pizza also. You tell me the truth.
That's a lot of apartments in Belle Chase.
John, the point I was trying to get to with regard to the water issue is they need to include pumps to pump the water pressure up to those elevated houses. Even if you do have better pressure eventually, it's got to go up. And you know, it's just, I don't even know if you can make it strong enough that the people on the, in there.
I believe they would have, with that number of facility building, they would have to put a pump on the areas to accommodate.
To accommodate, but that needs to be included
Because
in their
it's
plans.
a unit that would provide water. All right, any other questions? Yes,
I have a
ma'am.
comment I want to say.
Excuse me.
This
You're
is
doing
a-
all right, you're doing all right.
This is a red button issue.
I'm
The
sorry.
emotion behind this issue is because it's church property. Generations of families have supported St. Thomas, St. Martin, and we can't understand why this land wasn't made available to the parishioners who gave not only their money, their time, their sweat, their tears over the years to be able to own land that they could pass on to their children. You know, is this particular piece of property that it would be used in a way that may not even benefit our community. I know that everybody's got good intentions. Well, we are concerned that it's not going to actually benefit the people who have sacrificed their lives. And it is very discouraging to be in a community that has very little and to see that the little that they have may be lost.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what she's saying. We don't have any problems with disabled people, whatever, multi-unit, whatever. The whole point is that this property was given for the express purpose of a church and a school. And all of a sudden, now it's being used by, I want to say, every Tom, Dick, and Harry. I mean, you know, all this other stuff that's going on, and we're not being told. We're not being told. I don't see that. I just don't see that part. And I also have one other single question for one of the men. About the property. You said something about so much property was,
Yeah, it was 103 acres.
it's 103 acres.
So what we're proposing to develop is 8 acres of that 103.
Eight?
8.
80
8.
acres.
8.
8.
Only 8 acres, less
Okay,
than
so you're gonna
10%.
build 40 units on,
8 acres.
40 units
Yeah,
on,
at the layout, it's nice.
that's a project, I'm sorry, that's a project.
You got more houses bundled up together. How many trailers do you have down in
Okay.
Mr. No?
This is the way we wanted to do it.
See, that's
That was coming in. It's gonna cost us more money. I'm sure that we would have,
Anyway, that's the only way you can get it on an 8
see what happened, Councilman, is they were coming right here. We did not, again, we don't make those decisions, and somebody else tells us what to do. We just- That's the setbacks. I believe it's, this document right here.
Yeah, but that's changed, John, it's 35 feet.
Yeah, an architect had to take your setback requirements.
This is it, that's it. This is it.
I was just trying to show how it's law, and we do.
Yeah, that's mine.
All right, anybody else, any other comments from somebody? Nobody other comment?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead, please.
Why do the land be purchased for the project?
Parish ditches.
Why does the land be purchased if you can't even use the work? Seems like money wasted.
When we originally planned to do this project, we were going to do it at Brayford. We were, we lost the zoning board 7-0. We lost council, it was unanimous.
Why?
They told us they didn't want this development in Brayford. So they told,
Why did we turn it down? Why?
People up there didn't want it.
Why?
Because they didn't want this subdivision. You had a subdivision already had covenants of people that bought
it was a
lots.
single family subdivision.
They had bought lots. And you want to change and he wouldn't change. So they bought it for one condition. And they not agreed to change the lots.
They had to sell their lots for this project.
Yep.
So they didn't have any property in Braithwaite that was available for this project?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying what.
We were told to go down,
That's why that.
we were told at the zoning board, go down to Devon. We said, yes, we're following orders. We came to Devon.
That's what I.
So, here we are. The zoning board turned it down unanimously in Brayford. They turned us down 5-2 in Devon.
Otherwise, you only got 8 acres for the road and the rest of your land. All the way. You can't use it. You can't make a college.
Jose, you got a comment? Jose?
You gotta, if you destroy it, you get the land, you gotta mitigate, you gotta pay them.
Excuse me, hold up, please. Go ahead.
It's great. That's the government, federal.
Several things. Number one, I heard some comments about it being a project, but as we all know, in the last 15 or so years, the way they develop these properties is totally different. So for instance, if you were on St. Bernard Avenue and 610, or Claiborne and Louisiana Avenue, all these avenues, these places look totally different. And there are hundreds of them. Hundreds of these places. So this, compared to that, is a very, very small development. And I'm certain, without being absolute, that most of the people that will benefit from this development will be your neighbors, local folks who either might be disabled, a senior, or transitional. It's the people you see every day. It's not going to be any strangers. And I don't want to be sarcastic, but I can't imagine that someone will be coming from New Orleans at all. That's not going to happen. We know that's not realistic. It's not realistic. So what I was hoping, and I heard the comments about the church part, the Archdiocese as an institution builds developments everywhere in the millions of dollars. And it's probably a little bit different than maybe a Baptist church where the minister's there and he makes the decision along with the parishioners. Everything is decision made downtown Howard Avenue, where it is. But I think the Archdiocese intention is good. That is to provide needing housing in a place where there is none. And so part of what we have to do is try and understand that there are people in the community that need a place to live. And as I think someone said earlier, they've had these certificates in the parish almost 19 or 20 years. Nobody's ever come from anywhere else. And we've not heard of anybody who's been living in these places that's caused any kind of problem. So I think part of this is just a fear of the unknown but once this thing is done, and especially people investing money. Now, first, I'm volunteering, so people investing money got skin again. I can imagine that you would not have good management if you got millions of dollars involved. The state, the Louisiana Housing Corporation, putting up $5.5 million, and it went through. Nobody opposed it on the state level. I'm just hoping somehow we can come to the point where we can allow this to go through and see if we can be helpful to somebody. Now, in the case of Plaquemines, this is the only parish where we've not built, and I've probably been in every parish in the state where we haven't built anything at all, not one. It's almost inconceivable in this length of time you haven't built one place. And when I see people, you know, we're all from here, so we see people, we know what the need is, we see it every day. And the comment about we'd rather people have housing, in August they have soft seconds. They had some before this became available, soft seconds, and the millions of dollars. Nobody steps up, either because they couldn't afford it, and it didn't. But obviously, if you're an elderly person or one of those categories, and you paying $108 a month, it's much easier than trying to pay $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month. It's impossible. So all this Katrina money, the same money they're using, the elevated houses throughout the parish. I mean, there's a need for that. That's important. But there's also a need for the average person who needs a place to live. And these just country people, I can't imagine. Now everybody has a little problem in the community, but I can't imagine no rampant crime. What could that be? What could it be? I can't imagine. Now I do understand what you say about the church and the history of it. I understand that. But as I said before, the Archdiocese has a history of building facilities all over the country. So I just hope somehow we can give this project a chance to develop, provide needing housing for some people. So what you're talking about basically is 44 families, maybe 100 or so people in a small setting.
All right, anybody who ever spoke here in the street? Anybody haven't spoken? I'm just saying.
Yeah, and what Jose saying, like Christopher Holmes and what's the other one that they own that practically rebuilt all the way from the St. Bernard Parish line down to the French Quarter. I can't think of it, but the Archdiocese owned both of those development groups, Christopher Holmes, and I can't think of the other, the other one. But they were, in rebuilding New Orleans, the Catholic Church was in the forefront, not in the rear, in the forefront in rebuilding New Orleans. Now, second thing, like this young lady who came, we're gonna put her on 2 lists because they're gonna be like mixing together. She signed up with the waiting list that we have and the list that maybe we can get in Mr. Bartholomew's office. We have her sign up there, or somewhere down here we have to get a list where she could sign on it and have the local people there and the people who are on the waiting list, and then get down to HUD and have them do a blend in their way of doing things. Because you got so many people want to come back home and there's no housing. Not in Belchase, there's no housing. We give people vouchers for 90 days to find a place, and a lot of them after 90 days bring the vouchers back because they can't find a place to stay.
All right.
The occupancy is really high.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate all the comments that were made. And this ends the meeting at this time. The housing. Before you leave, I just want to tell you about the ferry. The ramp on the lower end, the contract has been awarded to put the dolphins back in place. Now, there also is some money that the federal government gave the state. People who own ferries, guys, government ferries. We the only parish right now on the ferry, so it's about $5 to $6 million we'd be able to get to relocate if we want to, the ramps, the new ramps, to build new ramps. So the question I was trying to propose and look at is to build the new ramps on parish-owned property, so we wouldn't have to stop the use of what we have now until the new ramps are built. The property would be in front of the courthouse, on the east side, and by the water, east bank, well, West Pointe-ala-hache area will be on the west side. That's parish-owned property. So that means we can bill that while we're still using these, the levees that we're gonna repair with the dolphin. So that'll give us enough time to do that. So what I'm trying to do now is get the engineer to put the money in the posture from the state, allocate it to us for new bridges, for ramps, for new bridges in the Pointe-ala-hache area. So once that comes to place, we're gonna be in good shape. Now, we're gonna have like 20% or 25, whatever it is, our portion. So that shouldn't be no big old task for us to come over the years. But the main thing is to get the 6 million in place, and then we can come up with our money thereafter to get it done. So if anybody have any comments with that, you call me later, not me, Merlene, leave it Merlene. Give me your comments or anything else you want to propose with that. But that's down the road. But the Dolphins is done, the contract has been awarded, right, Ralph? That's correct. It's been done, so that's going to get done very soon. Okay. With that saying,
Councilman, thank you for having us.
yes, and we're going to have another meeting. I'm going to have a community meeting about 3 weeks, updates all the projects that's going on and what's coming in. We do have a gas company that we have started in Bohemia. They are coming back. So with the natural gas, so they won't meet. Merlene here. I think the meeting is either tomorrow at 11:05. I won't be able to be at it tomorrow because I take care of Mama tomorrow because I had scheduled it to meet with them Wednesday. So I don't know what happened, but they kind of changed it, like they may put it another day. But anyway, they made contact with the Baptist Church at the low end to have a conversation with them. And fortunately enough, I have some property down there too. So they're going to deal with me too. Darren?
It's the same LNG company that was here?
I don't know if it's the same one, but the same process. Same process. So that's coming. Also up at Amex. It's a plant, it's a company coming in to sell natural gas, and the buyer is China. They're selling all the natural gas up there. They got the money, they got the land, but they're gonna move and build those plants. And the guy from China came and said, China won't buy all the natural gas. So I don't know what's gonna happen with Mr. Trump with the tariff and all that stuff. That might change a whole lot of issues. But anyway, that was our conversation. And my main thing was that all the jobs that's coming in with that facility, what is the possibility of having at least 80% of those jobs from our region, from this area that's this side of the river? I said, since we have enough time, we can train the people that need to be trained and willing to accommodate that. He said, yes, we are willing to accommodate that. So that's where we are at that. But it's not final, but that's what the scope of it was, the meeting was. So those are 2 different projects that's coming in off the bat that we coming in and talking about getting developed on the east side. One up in the Amex site and one down in Bohemia. Okay? So far. Now there's another plant that want to come in on northern end of Amex. And that is a storage site. And what they want to do is store oil and gas for ships. What they're doing now, they have it on Engineers Road, off of Engineers, in the coastal, but they have issues with the gates or whatever that is, floodgates, the river gates. So they want to put it there so it's more accessible, and I guess it can become more competitive of selling the stuff, the cruise and stuff like that. That's all up to that point, but we got some other stuff we're going to talk about in 2 weeks at another general meeting, maybe on the upper end. Reverend John Church or either at the auditorium. Okay? And we'll send y'all a letter out, and also I have email. You got your email?
Yes.
Anybody else want to be on the email list, please give it to, call my office and give Merlene your email, and we'll gladly send you the dates and time of all our activities and all our meetings. Okay? Thank y'all very much. God bless y'all. Have a good night. Oh, by the way, Stanley, Mr. Calvin Stanley is the guru over freshwater diversion. They're going to hang him.
I got a question for you. If we're going to train some people, I'm trying to save a man called Erskine. I don't know if you know it. What?